All right, guys, so we are on page 56 of our book, Win Bigly, and talking about spotting tells for cognitive dissonance. So over the years, I have noticed a variety of tells for when a person is experiencing cognitive dissonance. This comic gives you a classic example of what it looks like. The comic is based on common patterns I observe on Twitter. When I see someone get triggered into cognitive dissonance, either by me or by anyone else, I often see a similar pattern of response. The pattern is so persistent that it is spooky. And once I describe it, you'll start seeing it all the time. So here's the comic right here. It's on page 56 of Win Bigly, in case you want to buy the book. As far as I can tell, the most frequent tells for cognitive dissonance on Twitter take this form: a mocking word or acronym, an absurd absolute, or a mocking word or acronym plus a personal insult that is more aggressive than the situation seems to warrant. Regarding the first tell, when people do not have rational reasons for their views and you help them achieve that realization, they typically and immediately hallucinate that your argument is some kind of absurd absolute instead of whatever reasonable thing you actually said. That instant hallucination provides the critic something with which they can easily disagree. For example, if you make a solid argument on Twitter in favor of a private gun ownership and it triggers cognitive dissonance in some random stranger, you might see a response like this from the stranger: LOL, I guess you wanted to give guns to toddlers. In the example, the LOL is the mocking acronym, and the absurd absolute is the mischaracterization of your opinion as wanting to give guns to toddlers. The most common and mocking words and abbreviations on Twitter are these: wow, OMG, so, ... In other words, ha 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 ha, the exaggerated laugh, and dude. The list is not exhaustive, but I think you get the pattern. The start of the tweet generally contains contempt, mocking, or sarcasm. The second part of the tweet includes either an insult that seems too angry for the situation or a mischaracterization of your point as an absurd absolute. As a public service, I described in my blog a way to know you won an argument on the internet by spotting cognitive dissonance. Here are some additional tells you might find familiar. All right, before we go to the tells, that's going to be starting tomorrow. We'll talk about the tells. But we will go to this comic and read the comic. The comic says, if we move this button to here, people are more likely to see it. So that's Delbert talking there. And then the boss says, ha ha, OMG, LOL. Right there. And the second one. So you think every person in the universe is blind? And then he says, I can't wait to tell everyone that Dilbert thinks people have no eyes. And then he keeps going on and on. He says, the pure craziness of what you are saying is mind-boggling. And then he says, do you have any scientific proof that moving that button would not cause a nuclear holocaust? And then Dilbert says, everything you just said is dumb and unproductive, and I hate every molecule in your useless body. And then Dilbert says, what's wrong with people? And then he's talking to his dog, and his dog says, I keep telling you, it's everything. So that's how we get into arguments with people and disagree and fight on the internet on Twitter. But we're going to go on tomorrow, when we come back tomorrow, and we'll be on page 58, and we'll learn about how to know you won a political debate on the internet. So come back tomorrow, comment, and if you haven't read the rest of it, if you just caught the videos starting today, go on and go back and go through days 1 through 10, catch up, and we'll start with day 12 tomorrow. So like, subscribe, all that good stuff.